I thought my Airbnb system was dialed. Then I got this message from a guest. And eventually we had to refund their whole stay. And it wasn't like some sort of like chaotic launch. It wasn't a new property. And we didn't even have brand new cleaners. This was a home we ran with systems in place, or so I thought. And as usual, the cleaner marked the place as clean. And normally what our virtual assistants do is actually check those photos and audit that they actually cleaned it. But somehow this step got missed. The guests arrived to the house and the house still wasn't ready, and there was pretty much like dirty sheets, dirty plates all over the place. From the last guest, the beds were undone. The sheets were still messy, like the kind of mistakes you never want to like ever hear as an Airbnb host or anyone hosting friends for. In fact, we didn't debate the issue though, because a lot of times we'll try and fix our mistakes, like, or if it's not really our mistake, we don't do anything like, oh, it's the cleaner's fault, the last cleaner's fault. But we owned it in this case, and we ended up just refunding the whole stay. And honestly, this wasn't even like the worst part. The guests felt really bad. They like were so nice, and they stayed through the place anyway. They washed all the sheets. They did all the dishes for us, and they try to make the best of it. They're such nice people. And to be honest, it was a failure on our end and our team. And we should have done more due diligence when hiring the right cleaner. So here's like the even more uncomfortable truth. Even though like our cleaner did hold some responsibility, it really wasn't just on her either. The problem was that like I left a check mark on a checklist unchecked, and I didn't verify that the work that we said was done was actually done. So a really important lesson for how to build a business. A system that isn't audited isn't really a system. It's just hope, is what I'm getting at. When you run multiple properties, small misses like this actually compound pretty fast. And one missed clean doesn't just cost money. It costs trust. It costs reviews. It costs rankings. And honestly, your own confidence in operation. I felt horrible. I was like, man, am I even worthy of doing this? Am I just a bad host? Am I just a crappy person? But we learn to fall to the level of our systems. And you need to build good systems as a host if you don't want a second job. When you realize that becoming an Airbnb host isn't just like a side hustle, it's actually like a full-on operation and you need to treat it like a business. That's the turning point when this actually becomes great and becomes better. We ended up having a meeting pretty much immediately after that. And there were like 3 non-negotiable changes that we made within our business after experiencing this. And like the first one is, one, proof beats the actual like status. Like I love. And a clean is not done unless photos are updated and reviewed. No photos, not clean. That's what we put in our system so our virtual assistants can audit it. The second thing that we actually implemented was one person actually owns the verification of all the properties when they're turned over. So not just a team, just one specific person. That way things can be linked back to that person and they feel accountable. Ownership sometimes beats process. And in this case, it was very, very true because the process did fail. And also escalation over assumption. So you don't want to just assume things are done. So if something feels off, it needs to be flagged immediately. So no waiting, no hoping, no saying it's probably fine. And this is the part that no one ever really talks about when investing in Airbnbs or investing in real estate. Is usually there are a little bit of hiccups and headaches. And that's how like an operator like me, just a regular person, can turn like a $20,000 investment into a $70,000 per year Airbnb, is because of good operation and a commitment to a higher quality. And the money doesn't come from just buying the deal. It's a whole team effort. You can't do this just alone, unfortunately. You can do it with a small staff, that's for sure, with virtual assistants and AI and a bunch of software. But it comes from like protecting the experience. At the end of the day, it's actually the customer who we are trying to serve. And if the customers are not having a great experience, or if you find that you're not able to help this type of customer, it's time for you to move on. Simple as that. If you're trying to run an Airbnb remotely and you don't have systems, don't forget to ask yourself, like, who is the checker of the checkered? Who is actually auditing all of this? And if it's not you, it needs to be someone else that you trust. And that question alone saves you from ever quitting a multi-million-dollar business.